Hello and welcome to Code and Magic channel. In this video, we're going to talk about how we can create a project with test-driven development approach. You may be heard about like all the fancy words about test-driven development and stuff. In this video, I'm going to create a project, a library management system, a very simple project with a few simple steps, but with the TDD approach. So I basically start from scratch and write the test and then pass the test and implement the feature to see how it works. Well, you probably have seen this before. This is the red-green refactor cycle in test-driven development. Basically, in TDD approach, you first write a test and then make sure the test is failing, and then make the test pass, and then refactor to make it work, and then repeat this process again and again to complete a feature. So that's basically test-driven development. So let's see what we can do about this. Okay, here I have simple steps for creating library management system in 3 iterations. Well, it says basic library management system iteration 1. In this iteration, the focus is to create a basic library management system that can add and remove books. The program should be able to store information about books, including their title, author, ISBN, and publication dates. And here are user stories that could be used to define features for this iteration. Well, as a librarian, I want to add book to the library's collection. Also want to remove a book from library's collection. So basically, these are the first steps that we need. So we will start with that. Okay, here I have a empty solution. I created just an empty solution in the Visual Studio. So here I right click on the solution and add a new project. Well, here we have, I guess, something about test-driven development. It is an NUnit, and yeah, unit test project, XUnit. Let's search it. NUnit. Yeah, here. NUnit test project. NUnit is a specific library that we can write test with, and I like to work with this library, so I will continue with this one. Okay, here. I will call it library management system lms.tests. Well, it's asked me to select the .NET version. I leave it as it is, .NET 8. Okay. Well, here is the first test, that is the unit test, that's unit test 1.cs. It has basic stuff like setup and test. Basically, the setup is an attribute that you can put on a function. So before running any test, this setup will be called, and then each test we can see it here. I have to also open the test explorer. Let's see, where is it? Window test explorer here. As you can see here, I have a text explorer. This is the window that I can run the tests with. So I would like to keep it down there. So yeah, I can close and open it here. And as you see here, it says LMS.tests. We have a class called tests. And this tests has a function called test1 here. So if I click it, if I right click on it and press run, it will just run this test. Or if I click on this one, and if I have like multiple test cases, this one runs all the tests. So I can basically press this one or this one. So let's see how it works. It's a little slow. Maybe it's because it's first time. Okay. So you see, it has a green check mark. It means the test is passing. And the test is basically nothing. It says assert.pass. So it's just a test to see the test is passing. Okay. I would also like to edit the project file because in new .NET versions, it's implicit. It has something implicit usings. So it basically automatically imports the libraries that you're using, and you don't have to have like system that using system or using some specific DLLs that you're using. So I don't like it. I remove it because I would like to see what things that I'm using. Okay. I also don't need this one anymore. This is the first class that the library creates for me. Okay. I create another class. So the name of the class is kind of important. It should be like a natural language. So this is the library management system. So I will call it something like library management system should. This basically is like reading a sentence. Library management system should add a book, should remove a book. So the add a book and remove a book methods are basically the test cases that we create. Okay. Here we have this one. It doesn't need to be internal, could be public. And you see that here I have the usings, but I will remove the ones that I don't need. I need a test case here, public void test1, just to make sure that everything is working correctly. Okay. So it basically will pass because there's nothing in it. Well, what is the first case that we are going to use? I want to add a book. Okay, the library management system should add book. So here to write the test, there is a approach to write the test that is also called acceptance test-driven development, and it's based on something like this. Given something, when something happens, then I want something to be called, or I want a specific result. So this is the given, when, then approach. And basically given is a specific or some kind of configuration. And in the when section, we basically call a method or do the action that we need. Like for example here, add book. And then we expect something to happen. For example, whenever I add a book, I expect the class to call a method or my book to be in a specific collection. So those kind of things. Okay. So basically, as you see it, we don't have anything. We don't have a library. We don't have a book. We don't have anything. So here we want a book basically, and we want a library, but we don't have them. And this is the test-driven development. So I would say var book equals to new book, but basically there is no book, so I will create one. Generate class book here, so I'll make it public because then I want to move this class to a specific file and to a specific project. So here now I have a book, and then basically also, so remember this cycle. Remember that I created book and then it was read. So not compiling basically is in the red section. Not compiling is basically failing. So, and then I make it green. So refactor. Basically, there is no specific refactor at this moment, so I will pass it. Then I need a library. Let's do a new library. No, not this one. Yeah. Well, as you see, this is red. Not compiling is failing, so my code is failing. And then I generate a class library here. So here I have book, here I have library. And then the action is adding a book, right? So basically whenever I say library dot add book and pass the book to it, it should add the book to a specific collection or something. So we don't have a add book function, so I will hover my mouse here, click on it, and then press Alt and Enter to open a quick action, and then I would say generate method. So here it generates a method called add book and get a book, but there's nothing here. Well, and it was green, red, green refactor. Basically there is nothing to refactor here because we're just basically creating everything. But when the feature is done, it's a good idea to refactor it. So here, this is the library. This is the action that I need. And then I expect the book to be in the library, right? Then I expect the book to be in the collection or something. So, and then I would say there is a helper class called assert here that has different functions. So here I need assert that library called here I need to create a method, something like has book and book that ISBN. I don't have ISBN, I don't have a has book function yet. And I want to make sure that this function returns true, is true. So when you read this statement, it said assert that library has book function which takes ISBN, it returns true. So what's the basically the process? First I create a library and I create a book, and then when I said add book, basically I expect the book to be in the library. So I will create here the add has book function, generate method, public, but also I don't have a ISBN. But if we look at here, we see that in the description it says the book should have title, author, ISBN, and publication date. I would remove publication date to make it more clean and more short. And yeah, title, author, ISBN. I will consider these 3 values as a string. So var title test title 1, var author test author 1, var ISBN test ISBN 1. And then I will add all these values here: title, author, ISBN. So as you see, I don't have a constructor that accepts these kind of things. So here I will press Alt Enter to open the quick action menu, and then I would say generate constructor with properties. I can also have with fields, but I would like to have with properties, and it's showing me the basic generation that it will perform. Basic code generation that it will perform. So if I come here, I see that I have this constructor with these specific properties, and I would like to keep it up there. Perfect. So here I also have ISBN as well. Well, but has book is returning, it's not returning anything. So basically it's also still failing. Well, for test purposes, I can say return false to see what would happen. Here I open the Text Explorer, and here at book, if I run this, as you see, it is failing, and it says expected true but was false. But if I here return true, it will pass. So the test is passing here, as you see, red, green. Now it's green. Now it's time to refactor. So basically, it's a good idea to actually implement the things that we need. What should happen when we add a book? Okay, basically I need a collection, a list or something to store the book. So here I could have private list generic book, and I could call it book list new. And here, whenever I want to add a book, I could say book list that add this book. Simple as that. And I don't need this constructor, so I would remove it. And here, instead of returning true, I try to find basically, and this shouldn't be an object, it should be a string. Okay. Here I'm getting an ISBN, so I will search in this book, and if it is exist, and then I will return true. If book list any x.isbn equals to ISBN, basically I just can come here and return this one. Well, it says if the book list contains anything with this ISBN, return true, otherwise return false. So let's try to run the test again. Here So as you see, the test is passing. But to make sure that it's working correctly, let's comment this section. So if I don't add the book to my list and then run the test, it returns false. Why? Because it was expected to this function to return true, but it is returning false because there is no book in my library. So as you see, this is how we do it. So the test is passing, so it's time to refactor. So let's run everything to make to have the green check mark here. Okay, so it's time to refactor. Basically, I don't have to have my library and book class here. They shouldn't be here. They should be in separate projects. So here I right click on a solution and I add a new project. And basically, because this is pure logic, I would like to create a class library, not a console application or anything else. This is pure logic, and I would like to have a DLL called lms.businesslogic. And yeah, let's create it. And I would like to have that in the standard put on 2.1. Okay. So here, first I can make this into classes. So let's open the quick action menu, move type to library.cs. Also, I would like to do the same for this. Move type to book.cs. Okay. Now they are here with the specific namespace that I have to change when I move it to another DLL. Okay, here I drag and drop my library and my book here. And I remove them from here because they shouldn't be here. Also, I have extra class here, which I would like to remove. I also would like to edit the project file, and okay, here I don't have implicit usings. Perfect. Well, the namespace should be lms.businesslogic. So I will also do the same for book. Here doesn't accept this kind of initialization because it's .NET standard. New list of book. Okay, perfect. Now it's working. Well, as you see here in this namespace, I have library, and here I have my book. So now it doesn't recognize this, so I have to add a reference to business logic. So I will right click on it here on just dependencies, and I'd say add project reference. And I can have a reference to business logic. And here I have to open the quick action menu and using LMS business logic. So basically I have access to these classes. Okay. So if I run the test again, you see that the tests are passing. And well, perfect, it's working. But the thing is, we have to also refactor a little more. As you see, it's only I'm only testing this with one book. I would like to test it with different books, with different titles, authors, and ISBN. So basically what I can do is here, if I come here and add string title, string author string ISBN. Instead of having test, I can have a test case here, and I can use these values as a input parameter for this function. So I will copy this as a author and also as a ISBN and those kind of things. Okay, and I remove this because I'm getting this from parameters here. So basically this one will be considered as title, this one will be considered as author, and also this one as a ISBN. So if I come here again, if I run it, you see that if I open this, it says, okay, add book with these values is passing. So I can duplicate it with different values, like test title 2, test author 2, test ISBN 2, 3, 3, and 3. So basically, these are different titles and different author and ISBN. And what would happen is that basically this function, this add book test function, is like there is 3 versions of it. One version is with this one, and the other version with this, and the other version with this. And if I open this and run all, you see that here the add book has 3 versions. Test title 2, and the last one. And yeah, this is how add book is working. So there's also room for refactor as well, but I will continue with the other one, which is remove a book. So let's see how it's working. Well, I will create another function here. Test public void remove book. And basically, when you're reading the statement is like library management system should add book, library management system should remove book. So that's how it is. And I can also do some refactoring here, but yeah, basically I can have functions for this, like have a function given a library, given a book, when add a book, then book should exist, something like that, but I will leave it as here. So okay, remove a book. So what book? Basically we need a ISBN. Like imagine that ISBN is something like this, where ISBN is something like test title 1, and basically I need a given, when, and then approach. And here I would say given ISBN as test title 1, also given a book where book equals to new book with different titles. So I need to have pass some titles. Here I'm thinking that it's a good idea to have a function for this. So I will here and extract a method for this one, given a book with title, author, and ISBN. So basically this is a private method that returns a book. So if I pass this once, it returns this. So given a book and book, given book with test title 1, test author 1, and ISBN. Here is the when add book, but here I need a library that's remove book, and here I need to pass ISBN to know which book to remove. But here, as you see, I don't have this function. So I will open the quick action menu and say generate method. So basically, if I go to this function, I have this ISBN. Well, now the test is passing. Let's continue. And when I remove a book, then I expect that something like this, like let's copy and paste this. Assert that library. Well, basically here, oh my god, why do I need the library here. Let's say extract method given a library, and I would like to put it here. And here our library given a library, and well, I need to remove the static version of the remove book, so can call it from the objects. So given a library, when I remove, and then I expect that has book with this ISBN is false. So let's see how it works. Let's run all the tests. Well, it is passing because basically there is no book in the library. So basically there is nothing. So it's time to refactor. So from the remove book, I could say book list that remove, and I can have a book here. Basically I can find a book where book equals to book list dot first or default x is ISBN equals to ISBN, and then remove the specific book. Well, let's see how it goes. Well, basically it's passing, but there's a problem with the tests, because if you don't have a book, basically it all the time it returns false. So basically I need to have something in my library when I'm executing the remove function. So I would like to have something in my library, and then I try to remove it. So I create a method for add book. Let's leave it as it is. Okay, here I have a library and I have this specific book in my library. So when I remove the book, this one should return false. Now the test is passing, but I wanna make it fail. So I'll come here and comment the removing function. And here I try to run test again. Now as you see, it is failing and it's expected to be false, but it is true. It means that the book is still in the library. So yeah, now our test is working correctly. So if I uncomment this and try to run the test again, it will pass, as you see. Okay, perfect. So this is how we do the test-driven development. Well, in the next section, we need to do a search operation. Well, because I don't want the video to be longer than this, I will continue this in the next video. So please feel free to write any comment or any concern that you have about the test-driven development, and if you have any questions, don't hesitate to ask it. And of course, this basically this implementation needs a lot of refactoring. As you see, the business logic is basically just a logic. There's no view basically. I don't have a view. What I can do is basically like add another project as a view, but I would like to manage it in a way that I can have any kind of view. So, and my test is still passing. Basically, currently I'm storing my stuff in a list, but in a real world application, you maybe want to interact with the database, and that's why we need to also get help from another libraries, for example, and substitute to work with interfaces to separate the database component, database basically library, DLL in a different project, and then still our test will be passed. So this is just the beginning, so I will continue and complete it in the next videos. Well, thank you for watching, and don't forget to hit the like and subscribe button.